All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge Podcast. Now, it was a wise and calculated decision or move, rather, by the New York Giants not to pick up the fifth year option of quarterback Daniel Jones during the offseason or to extend him for a variety of reasons. Now, in Jones's first 3 years with the Giants, his record as a starting quarterback was just 12 and 25. You think about it because the Giants are bringing in a new regime with a new general manager and a new head coach in Joe Shane and Brian Dayball, respectively. And just like it is for any new head coach or GM that comes in, that person is not attached at the hip with people on the roster that were there before he got there. But so far this season, with Jones as a starting quarterback, the Giants are 7-2, and they're on pace for their best season since 2016. Now, in the NFL, make no mistake about it, it starts and ends with the quarterback. But in regards to Jones and the Giants, you got to read between the lines. And I say that because Jones has been much improved this year as a quarterback in comparison to his first several years with the Giants. But then on top of that, you look at what's around them. The Giants have one of the better running games in the NFL, and their passing game has really struggled. But honestly, I'm not going to put all of the blame on that on Jones, and honestly, I'm not going to put that much of the blame on Jones just due to the fact that the talent at the wide receiver position really is not there for the Giants right now. But even with that, Jones is still completing more than 65% of his passes, which is a career high, even though the majority of his throws are quote unquote safe throws. Dumps to the running back, 10-yard passes to the receivers or tight ends, really not stretching the field. But with that said, the Giants don't have those guys on their roster right now that can stretch the field. And then the other dynamic, Saquon Barkley, the oft injured running back, is having the best year of his NFL careers. He's on a pace to get more than 1,000 yards on the ground for the third time. Now, the Giants and Barkley were hopeful to get an extension done during the team's bye week last week, but that didn't come to fruition. And both sides have stepped away from it. They don't want it to be a distraction for this team going forward. And obviously, they're going to hope to address it during the offseason. Now, Barkley is seeking to get paid like one of the top backs in the NFL. This is a very interesting avenue right here because you think about it, you've seen some of the bigger deals that have gone down in the recent years for running backs. Ezekiel Elliott with the Dallas Cowboys was never the same back once he got his deal. Christian McCaffrey, when he was with the Carolina Panthers, of course, obviously he now is with the San Francisco 49ers, but he couldn't stay healthy. And Barkley only made all the starts in one season. That was his rookie year going back to 2018, pardon me, 26, yeah, 2018, excuse me, I'm sorry, when he had more than 1,300 yards on the ground. But, the knee injury in 2020 just really just ended his season before it even got started. Came back last year, but he played behind a very bad offensive line. And the bottom line is he was looking like maybe this wasn't going to work out for him. But Barkley, he's running for a contract, he's running for a purpose. But I think both him and Jones are benefiting from Brian Dayball because one of the first things that Brian Dayball and Joe Shane have done since taking over the Giants, they've gotten it fixed in the trenches. The Giants are much better on the offensive line this year than they were in years past. And you think about the Giants' running game. The Giants are running the football effectively in spite of the fact that there really isn't that much of a threat in their passing game. Opposing teams know that the Giants are going to run the football and they still can't stop it. So obviously, Saquon is running a lot better. Doesn't have the explosiveness like he did as a rookie, but he is still a running back that can compete and contribute rather on any team. And honestly, I know that there were rumors about the Giants possibly trading Barkley before the trade deadline this season. They did not, and I think it would have been a recipe for disaster for this team because Saquon is the heartbeat of this team. Saquon is the heart and soul of this team. And with that said, if you let him go, more than likely, I think the fortunes of this team would have gone in the other direction for the second half of the season. So you look at it, the Giants are a better team. You got an opportunistic defense as well. They know how to get after you, and more importantly, they know how to prevent other teams from scoring a ton of points. The Giants, they want to keep winning, but honestly, it's better to win ugly than lose pretty in the NFL. And the Giants, hey, they're getting it done. A lot of their games haven't been pretty. I mean, you look at their win today at home over the Houston Texans. First time all season that the Giants led wire to wire. And that's something that really doesn't happen a lot with this team, but obviously it helps when you're playing a team that only has one victory on the year. But nonetheless, getting back to Barkley and uh, Daniel Jones, it's a scenario where, hey, I could see because you can only franchise one. And I think the ball is going to be obviously in Joe Shane's court to go out there and get it done and figure out who he's going to franchise. I think at the end of the day, I think that Barkley gets the franchise tag just due to the fact that the franchise tag for a running back is going to be lower than it would be for the quarterback. And honestly, I think at the end of the day, it didn't seem like it at the beginning of the year, but I think the Giants bring back Daniel Jones. I think he gets a multi-year deal. It's going to be a multi-year team-friendly deal because at the end of the day, if Daniel Jones is a free agent, the Giants are really bidding against themselves because I don't see a lot of teams, other teams around the NFL lining up and saying, hey, we want to pay Daniel Jones 35, $40 million in order for him to be our starting quarterback. That just is not going to happen. So with that said, I think they get that done. I think Saquon is going to be back with the Giants next year under the franchise tag, and I think eventually it will be worked out. excuse me, for him to get a long-term deal with the Giants. It's a scenario where you think about Joe Shane. One of the reasons why he was brought in during his time with the Buffalo Bills as the assistant GM, he was a good cap guru, good with analytics, all of that stuff. But most importantly, the cap. And you figure Joe Shane came into a financial nightmare that Dave Gettleman left him with the Giants, and he's working through that. And I think he's going to do obviously what's best for the Giants organization. But honestly, he sees what this combination has given him so far this season and what this combination could potentially do for the Giants if they do make the playoffs. And at 7-2, they are definitely well on their way to doing that. So when it's all said and done, I still believe that Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones will be with the New York Giants next year, barring something unforeseen. Both of them like playing for the Giants. Both of them want to be there. That's always, a step in the right direction. But at the end of the day, the NFL, like any other business, is still a business. And at the end of the day, money talks and everything else walks. So Giants didn't get their deal done with Barkley. I don't think that's going to slow him down because he wants to keep producing and prove his worth out there. Same thing with Danny Dimes. So let's just see what happens with the Giants and Barkley and Jones going forward. But if you thought, or most of us didn't think this conversation was going to be had at the beginning of the season, these two men have played, solid for their team. A lot of credit to Joe Shane, a lot of credit for Brian Daboll for turning things around. And let's see how things work out for Barkley, Jones, and the Giants going forward. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take this time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So, once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I am signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.